Peter, do you have the clicker by chance?
Is it on the...
Thank you. Thank you very much, Peter. It's an honor to be here. I'm Michael Healy. I'm one of the co-founders of the Unit Network. We're one of the leading tokenization and DAO platforms built on the Polkadot Network. A little bit of introduction about myself. I've been in the crypto space since 2010. I originally worked for WikiLeaks. I built their Android application in 2010. When I was working at WikiLeaks, we got to a stage where we were thriving, and the governments essentially shut down our Visa, MasterCard donations, bank accounts, and we stumbled upon using this thing called Bitcoin. And this was really fortunate because without something like Bitcoin, our organization would have been shut down, right? And what this taught me is that the next generation, the next evolution of tools of the internet needs to be less dependent on a number of small central entities and really give an opportunity for everyone to thrive. Since then, I started one of the top social networks in the UK. I worked at Wellington Partners, one of the leading VCs based in London, managing 800 million euros. We invested in the likes of Spotify. And about a few years ago, started the Unit Network. We're the easiest and most powerful way to create a DAO or a token, and really excited to talk about it today. So a little bit of background. So what makes Bitcoin so interesting? This idea of being able to store your own value, being able to send and receive payments without trusting a central entity, this is really revolutionary. A small group of people discovered this in 2009, 2010, 2011, and we've grown to this amazing Bitcoin community many years on. And then, 2014, there was an individual who basically said, hey, decentralized payments are cool, storing your own value is cool, but let's build other decentralized applications. Let's build decentralized news. Let's build decentralized, social networking. Let's build decentralized, all kinds of applications. So Ethereum was launched. Ethereum, really cool, allowed smart contracts on a general purpose blockchain. And I used to be a big believer in Ethereum. I thought, wow, Bitcoin was cool, but Ethereum allowed you to build lots more. It's smart money. And then, I came across Polkadot, got introduced in 2017, invested very early, and a big proponent of it because, it really gives an opportunity, not just to build on a single general purpose chain, but effectively you can build chains for lots of applications. The idea that, hey, I've got an idea to build a blockchain for, supply chain, a blockchain for restaurants, a blockchain for, any industry, and a blockchain can specifically be tailored for that. So which aspect of, we basically identified a problem. We looked at all of the big problems in the world. We looked at, pollution. We looked at, racial equity, gender equity. We looked at, plastic. And we realized that all of this stems down to one key reason, and that's the wealth inequity. If you basically gave an opportunity for people to have a larger base of income, and made money less of a thing, then people wouldn't be worried or stressed or thinking about it as much. And why do we have this wealth inequity? So the reason we have this wealth inequity is because there's a small group of people, those are the founders and those are the investors, who effectively own and manage organizations. They get all the upside. And you've got the other side. You've got the customers and employees, right? And the really cool thing about DAOs relative to traditional companies is it allows for this value to be distributed much more equitably. So we really have so much strong belief in this DAO-based economy. This idea that of the token economy, the idea that every single business is not just going to be owned by a small number of founders, and investors. If you think about the likes of Amazon, you think of the likes of Google, you think of the likes of Facebook, Uber, Airbnb, the people who started, amazing. Without the founders, you wouldn't have as much innovation. Without the investors, the people that give some resources and support to these founders, you don't have the innovation. But if you were the first driver of Uber, if you're the first host of Airbnb, you deserve at least some piece of the upside. If you were, a customer, who checked out an application when nobody else, heard about it, you deserve some of that. And that is, the really exciting thing about DAOs. So effectively what we believe is that the DAOs and the token economy is going to solve this key pressing issue of wealth inequity. And if you tackle this wealth inequity aspect, the same way the internet solved access to information, the same way the mobile solved access to communication, this is really going to lead to a much more enjoyable world. So really excited today to talk about 3 really cool innovations that Unit offers: the treasury, the vaults, and some amazing tooling that we have for creating tokens and DAOs, and what makes Unit Network one of the leading tokenization platforms. So the treasury. So what is the treasury, right? We strongly believe that the treasury is not just going to play an integral and critical role in the crypto and blockchain space, but it's going to completely change the world. And why is that? Because if you look at a token at the moment, whatever it's priced at, $2, $5, $10, $1,000, $20, $30, $50,000, it's very hard to know, is this fairly priced? You're kind of like, someone told me about it. I think it's got a good team, it's got good fundamentals, they've got good vision, they've got good technology. I'm hearing lots of good media, they throw good events. But what is really giving it this underlying value? And we believe that our industry is just at such an early stage where the valuation behind tokens and coins and DAOs doesn't yet have a clear way to be established. And how we think it's going to move towards the next bull run, the years to come, is where you look at a token, you can see what its speculative value is relative to its underlying value. So, you look at a coin, let's say it's, has 1 million coins and it's $10 each. It's a 10 million market cap project. You can see what is the floor price for a token. You can see if everyone starts dumping and selling the tokens, nobody believes in it, how low is it going to drop? So if the treasury is 0, meaning the floor price is 0, if you bought into it, if you supported it, if you participated, if you're part of the community, part of the application, and the floor price is 0, that it could drop down to 0, right? And that means it's totally fine. If someone just has an idea, they raise some funds for a project, they try and pull it off, the floor price is 0, it's very much in the innovation phase. But then what happens next is it builds up lots of value, provides a product or service, it builds up this treasury, the floor price goes up. And we strongly believe that tokens are going to trade at a multiple of whatever the treasury is growing at, as well as what the treasury is. So the floor price plus a multiple of the growth of the floor. And it's much more difficult, to build a project when it's not entirely based on speculation or, Ponzi-nomics or, hype. But we believe that this is really going to be what will move the space forward, and really excited to share some of it very shortly. The next thing is, the vaults. So we're building up a treasury. The treasury holds Bitcoin, Ethereum, DOT, BNB, Solana, all of these Matic, all of these digital assets, but they're all across separate chains, right? So it's kind of like, if you start email, and let's say I'm using Hotmail, someone uses Gmail, someone uses Yahoo Mail. Imagine if you can't email one another. That's kind of how we see the state of blockchains at the moment. They're super fragmented, and we need a way to join the chains together. So if you're familiar with the idea of wrapping of tokens, like wrapped Bitcoin, wrapped Ethereum, bridges, this is one common solution. If you want to use Bitcoin on, say, Ethereum, you want to use, USDC or USDT on, say, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Matic, Solana, whatever, people typically use bridges. But there's a few critical flaws with bridges. One is that a lot of these funds are held either in a centralized custodian. So in the case of, let's say, wrapped Bitcoin, it's all held in BitGo. In the case of something like wrapped Ethereum, it's held all in a smart contract. And we basically thought, okay, how can we decentralize this? How can we make it such that we don't have to trust a single company or a single party to control all of these digital assets? And how do we make sure that the funds are not just sitting there doing nothing, right? So we basically introduced this idea called vaults. And how the vaults work, people basically put some unit on the line. Let's say I had 1,000 units, $1,000 each. I put $1 million of unit on the line. And what happens? So $1 million of unit online. Now when someone deposits some Bitcoin or Ethereum or Polkadot or Solana onto the network, me as someone who creates the vault, same with all the other people who create vaults, we get the unwrapped token. Get the Ethereum, get the Bitcoin, get the Solana, and effectively it's a loan against the 1,000 unit that you have on the line. And you can trust that me or any of the vault creators are going to return, unwrap that token, simply because the amount that we've used to create the vault is much more than whatever we are holding custody of. So keep it simple. If you look at something like wrapped Bitcoin, all of this tens of millions and billions of dollars is held in BitGo's custody. We're essentially creating many, many BitGos. Anyone here can create a vault and they can borrow against their unit, and really allows the different chains to be bridging. And really excited very shortly to talk about the tooling. So the amount of features and tools which we allow for tokens and DAOs to be really successful. And if you're launching a project, a company, you're a musician, you're a artist, you're software developer, we strongly believe that now there's 12,000 tokens, there's going to be 12 million tokens, there's going to be 12 billion tokens. Everyone here in the room is going to have their own personal token. This entire street, whether it's a restaurant, it's a bar, it's a nightclub, it's a cafe, they're going to have their own tokens. And really, this idea of the token economy is going to revolutionize the world in ways which people here, all of us, including myself, can't even imagine. So all of these innovations are really boiled down into the unit network. Here you can see it's 3 simple parts. The first is an invitation to the network. Here, this is how easy it is to create a DAO or a token. You give it a name, you give it an image, you give it a supply, how many exist, and you give it a symbol. It's kind of similar to when the internet came out. If you wanted to create a website when the internet came out, it would cost you $500,000 or several $1 million. It would be really complicated, whatever. And then now you can create a website on your phone. It costs next to nothing. This is the state of creating DAOs and tokens at the moment. And we are really excited because we think that what we're offering here is really an evolution of that. It really should be seamless and super flowing to be able to create a token. You can also see on the right, this is the explore page of different tokens, kind of like CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. And here you can see some of the other features that we have. So currently, in our treasury, we've raised about $12 million. We expect to raise $150 million in the coming 18 months for Unit. These are the vaults. So this is how easy it is to add to a vault. You basically choose what kind of vault, whether it's a Bitcoin vault, Ethereum vault, BNB vault, Solana vault. You say how many unit you're willing to put into the vault, and then you start receiving the underlying Bitcoin, Ethereum dot to this address that you set the vault to. That's how easy it is to create a token. And then finally here you can see we've got an exchange built into every single token. So one big problem when people create tokens, they create DAOs, they create projects, they're trying to think, oh my gosh, how am I going to get listed? This exchange costs $1 million. Someone knows someone in this exchange. Something like Uniswap apparently makes it easy, but then it's not super clear how it works, or it really complicates it for the everyday user. Every token, every DAO that gets created on Unit effectively has an exchange built in. The Unit network takes a 2% fee off every single exchange. We do this to prevent wash trading. So on lots of different exchanges that operate at the moment, you see tens of millions and billions of trading. And much of it could be down to wash trading if the fees are very low or if the exchanges are not necessarily not corrupt. So in this scenario, the 2% fee gets split 4 ways. 0.5% goes to the treasury of the token that you're trading. So let's say if you created a personal token and lots of people traded your token, your treasury gets built up. 0.5% goes to the Unit network. So Unit basically provides this amazing service and amazing technology, and we benefit from taking 0.5% off every trade. 0.5% goes to the person who invited you to the platform. So if you're a famous footballer, you invite 1,000 people to start creating and trading tokens, then you've effectively built your own exchange. And 0.5% goes to liquidity providers, very similar to how automated market maker exchange work, where when you provide USD as well as the token, you get rewarded for providing that liquidity. Also, in terms of how the Unit token functions, apart from being amazing in terms of providing vaults, in terms of being able to hold a piece of the upside of the network, we expect to do $100 million in daily trading towards the end of the year. So $100 million a day, 0.5% of that is about $500,000 in a day that goes to the treasury, which is $182 million a year. So that's sort of the thought process. So what can you use the token economy for? A multitude of really amazing use cases and reasons. If you're an artist, you're a creator, if you want to experiment with the governance, whether it's a community, whether it's a small town, whether it's a startup, if you have a piece of real estate and you didn't want to sell the whole real estate, you want to sell portions of it, if you have a non-profit and you're thinking, okay, how can we raise more capital as well as give some of the upside? When you now donate, there's no remuneration in terms of the donation that you give. One example, someone used the Unit network to fix a road, and all the people who funded that were able to get a return. So it's going to be really cool. It's going to make philanthropy radically different from how it is now. It's going to make entrepreneurship much more prevalent. So this is the state of Unit at the moment. We have about 2,600 token holders. We've got 35,000 Unit users and community members in our network. We have about 800,000 tokens issued. We have 22 stable tokens. So these are crypto-backed stable coins. The like of GBP or USD or JPY. A lot of stable coins at the moment, they're either centralized in terms of the underlying assets are stored in a single place, or they are able to be frozen by a central party. And what we're excited to do is, it's based on the thesis that, we believe Bitcoin's going to go to 100K, then to 1 million, then to 10 million, and same with, Ethereum, DOT. This industry is going to grow 1,000 times what it is now. And if we're able to create stablecoins which are backed up and collateralized by these assets, that's going to provide a really nice base. And we thought, what are going to be the biggest tokens this decade? It's not going to be generic protocols. It's going to be the things where there's lots of people, there's lots of economic activity. So we thought, industries and cities, cities like New York, London, Tokyo, Dubai, Paris, or industries like art, music, fashion. It's kind of like when domain names came out, in the early 90s or in the late 80s, and you could have registered newyork.com. It would have been free or cost $10, but people, didn't see the value in sort of this ecosystem, the internet. And we think we're at the same stage at the moment with tokenization and DAOs. So we've got four main, within our unit operating system, we've got four main parts with our team. We're a team of about 45. We have marketing, organization, product, and sales. I'm on the product team. On our marketing team, we've got this flywheel. We've got CVMUN. So conferences, we've held a few thousand conferences, live and online. This is very much focused on bringing together people in different industries and cities, as well as really uniting all the different ecosystems. Now cryptocurrencies, digital assets, it's very somewhat religious. Some people who are part of Solana, or people who are part of Polkadot, or people who are part of Ethereum, they kind of see this team as completely separate. And what we believe is that this industry is so small and irrelevant at the moment that it's got so much room for growth, and we really should be working together. So we organize things like the World Polkadot Forum and many other events. We have the World Polkadot Forum coming up in the next few weeks. So really looking forward to inviting everyone to attend. And if you'd like to speak or participate, organize a workshop, please feel free to connect. We've got several of our co-founders and team members here in the audience, as well as advisors and tuning online. So please feel free to reach out. We have a master's program. So we're in our 11th cohort at the moment. We've educated thousands of people, introduced them to the idea of the token economy and Web3. And really the intention here is that, very similar to when the internet came out, or very similar to when mobile came out, this new technology, people need to get up to scratch. They need to kind of learn, okay, why should I care about this? How can I benefit from this? Why should I be excited about this? So we basically run this free 6-week program. As mentioned, thousands of graduates. It's really exciting to come to conferences like this and meet people who've graduated, and they go, wow, thanks to the course that the team at Unit has run, it's really got them introduced and excited about this space. We also have a ventures program. So if you're familiar with accelerators, incubators like Y Combinator, we're building something very similar for tokens and DAOs. It's a 10-week program. We imagine that thousands and tens of thousands of DAOs and tokens can be kickstarted through this ventures program. We also have a news wing. We've got lots of articles and writers who are covering breaking news and updates on the token economy and why the crypto space is super exciting. So in terms of interoperability, we support all of these different networks and chains at the moment. So if someone wanted to put on any of these blockchain tokens onto our network, we support them. And if you wanted to build a treasury or a bank with these different assets, all of this are available. Okay, so taking a step back, if we were to look at tokens, how do we sort of see the ecosystem go? So we kind of looked at, what are the blue chips? The idea that, we believe every single token is going to be needing to be backed up by the blue chips. Even us at Unit, we think that, we would like to be a blue chip, and we're confident that we will be, but we still need to justify our valuation based on the amount of blue chips that we have. So if you think about the idea of Bitcoin, or you think of Ethereum or Polkadot, Ethereum or Polkadot, they don't need to justify their valuation by the amount of Bitcoin that it has. It's kind of like a reserve asset. It's a blue chip. We believe it's going to constantly grow over time. Something like Unit needs to be built up based on the valuation of these few. And then we've got stable tokens, things like USD, JPY, EURU, and then city and industry. And then we expect agencies to help catalyze and launch the different projects and businesses and millions and tens of billions of tokens that are created and emerge. We've launched a number of city tokens that have been quite successful. For instance, a Zurich token, a New York token, a Munich token, Dubai token, Singapore token. And what these have done, these city tokens, they've really done a good job in building up our community in lots of different places. And it's really captured the value behind these meaningful ecosystems. And what we expect is when these city tokens thrive, it's going to allow for the token economy to thrive beyond that. So please feel free to get in touch. We'd love to collaborate, support, learn from everyone here and find a way to collaborate. We're quite active on social media, and you can see here a link to the unit network. We also are looking for ways to collaborate. We're hiring. We expect to grow our team to 200 people in the next 18 months. So yeah, really appreciate everyone's time, and thank you so much.